welcome to another episode of What's for Dinner. Tonight we're making some red chicken enchiladas. So first you're going to want to boil your chicken. I used tenderloins and I put them in a crock pot with some water, 2 cloves of garlic, half of an onion, and I used this chicken seasoning, pollo asado, and you just want to add as much as you like. The seasoning totally depends on whatever seasoning you like. And I just put it on low for about 8 hours. And this was the chiles that I used. I used chiles guajillos. I used about 14. I used 4 to 5 bay leaves, and I added some water so I can put that to boil. And once that boiled, I went ahead and put it in the blender with 1/4 of an onion. Now the chicken I had put in the crock pot the night before so that the next day for dinner I could make these enchiladas. So if you're going to use them the same day, then just don't use a crock pot. Put them to boil on the stove. And then once your chicken is done, it might take you about an hour or two. Then you can go ahead and start this process of the chile, boiling it, and you'll be good to go. So to the chile guajillos and the onion, I added 1 clove of garlic. Just pop that baby right in there. Now, you can add water to the blender. It just depends on how thick or not thick you want your enchilada sauce. This is going to be where we're going to dip our tortillas, and this is the sauce for our enchiladas. And this is not spicy whatsoever, kid friendly 100%. And these are the seasonings that I used. Of course, you know the chicken bouillon is in there, so I used whole pepper, and I just did about a handful. There was like maybe 5 or 6. Oh, looks like 5 since I dropped one. 5 or 6 peppercorns in there, some oregano. This gives it amazing flavor. And I just eyeballed it there as well. Maybe about a tablespoon in there. And the chicken bouillon, the famous chicken bouillon that I love to use in everything. So we're just gonna plop that in there. And then, like I said, the water is gonna depend on how thick you want your sauce. You don't want it too runny because then it won't stick to your tortillas as well. And I'm just using the water that I used to boil the chiles. Yep, some spilled there. Looked like it needed a little bit more. There we go. And now we're just going to blend this baby up. Now, while this is blending, you can go ahead and get out the skillet that you're going to use to fry the tortillas and start prepping your condiments for your enchiladas. On the skillet, I went ahead and added some oil so that the oil can start heating up, because you do want the oil to be hot when you start frying your tortillas, or else they will just fall apart, absorb all the oil, and it's just a hot mess that you do not want. Light that baby up, let it heat up, and while that's going, we're going to start cutting up our lettuce. I like to use iceberg, and I just shred it. Please make sure to rinse your head of lettuce. So at this point, I rinse it, put 1/2 aside, cut the other half. Depending on how many enchiladas you'll be making that night, you might just need half of the head of lettuce. I rarely have used a whole head of lettuce for one dinner service of enchiladas. So I just shred it like so, depending on how big or small you like your lettuce. And I just shred it all the way till I get to the end of the lettuce. And while this is going, you can go ahead and start a spicy salsa. I already had one made, so I didn't have to do that. I also like onion on top of my enchiladas, so I just diced up a whole onion just because this one was pretty small. And at this point, I had already shredded my chicken as well, just because as soon as you take it out of the crock pot, once it's done, it's pretty much just starts falling apart on its own. If you don't have chicken, or you don't want to use chicken, you can also make your red enchiladas with just cotija cheese and onions inside. And we call those sweet enchiladas. A lot of people like them like that as well. I usually have like one or two of chicken and then one or two of just onion and cheese. They're actually really good. You hardly miss the chicken, but they are definitely more filling with the chicken. And I just got this big old block of cotija cheese and I just started crumbling it. Yeah. At this point, I also started heating up my enchilada sauce just so that everything was nice and hot. You definitely don't have to because you're going to fry it. I just liked to add that extra step in there tonight. And there we go. Just crumble it like so. I also have a recipe on green enchiladas that are made a little bit differently. So if you guys want to see that recipe, go ahead and comment below and let me know. And I can definitely make those. Those are also pretty good. Here is our enchilada sauce. See how it's, it's a little thick. Once your oil starts bubbling like this, when you drop a few drops of the enchilada sauce in it, that means it's ready to go and it's good to start frying. So you just dip your tortilla in the enchilada sauce and then put it into oil carefully so that you don't burn yourself, and do not get too antsy. When it looks like this, that means it's ready to flip. Do not flip it beforehand because like I said, it will just start falling apart on you. Now, when you put them together, you can put them on a paper towel lined plate because it can be a little bit oily, and I usually roll them as they're coming out, but they are very hot, so you can burn your fingers. You can let them cool down if you'd like for a little bit. I just like to do them as soon as they come out because we get them nice and fresh. As you can see, the plate started melting because I do it just as soon as it starts coming out. This is how I roll up my enchiladas. I put some chicken in there. I add some onion, some cheese, and then I roll it up. And that's pretty much the gist of the enchiladas. See, they're really hot, so you just be careful. Don't burn yourself. And then you just roll her up and start topping it off with your condiments. Like I said, I used lettuce, onion, and cotija cheese. You can add sour cream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!